I don't think you know any better when you're in your 20s and you're just working hard, you're just working with your body to make everything happen. Somewhere down the line, you start to go, you know what? I need to start using more neck up work and utilizing how to be more strategic and tactful in your strategies so that you're not doing a lot of neck down work. I think within the first 6 months of the business, I started realizing, hey, I need to start training some of these processes down, and so that I can work on things that I think are more important to building business. And I think once you realize that work is very, very important, I started putting some systems in. I think there's a time period where, I call it neck up or neck down work, Okay. And so, I don't think you know any better when you're in your 20s and you're just working hard, you're just working with your body to make everything happen. Somewhere down the line, you start to go, you know what? I need to start using more neck up work and utilizing how to be more strategic and tactful in your strategies so that you're not doing a lot of neck down work, And so I think in the first year, because I was in my restaurant, making schedules, ordering products, putting new menus up, training people. Sometimes I might have to wash the dishes. So you're doing all of these things, and then you realize, hey, I'm only one person. How do I mitigate some of these duties and start delegating things down so that I can do more higher up work? And so I think within the first 6 months of the business, I started realizing, hey, I need to start training some of these processes down, and so that I can work on things that I think are more important to building business. And I think once you realize that work is very, very important, I started putting some systems in. So I started working. So I would work a full day at the restaurant. I would come home and start writing protocols, SOPs, training manuals, handbooks. And so that took several years to set up, actually. And so I always tell people, like younger entrepreneurs, when they ask me questions about certain things, I go, anybody can run a good business, but do you want to run that business 20 years from now doing exactly the same thing? Or do you want to be able to scale or have an opportunity to scale and work on different things and delegate those kind of responsibilities down? Because if you're in the business, then you're really not an entrepreneur. I always, I had a young friend of mine that got into business, and I said, don't scale your business unless you're fully out of your own for your first business. Because it's really, really hard to expand. Because then if something happens in your first business and you get to your second business, now you got to be traveling, back and forth, putting out fires.
Right.
Yeah.
So the processes, SOPs, things like that, that's actually what we're working on. We were working on last year and this year.
Sure.
And it's, again, like you said, a multi-year thing.
Sure.
And it's when we were able to really step back and focus on, or when I was able to step back and focus on the business and think more strategically versus just go.
Yeah.
And I love the way you put it, neck up and neck down. I've never heard that before. And it's really the difference between, like, let's say your local pizza shop and a Domino's. If you decide you want one or the other, it's not a right or wrong answer, but it's two very different lifestyles, two very different sets of skills that you have to develop.
Absolutely.
When did you get to the second location then of Drunken Fish? Or did
we opened up Drunken Fish in May of 2003. And then we opened up Drunken Fish Central West End in May of 2004. So within a year, we opened up 2 stores. And I think you learn a lot. And one of the things that I didn't know at the time was, if I open up a second store 15 minutes away, am I really taking half of my business over to the other location? And that really scared me. But I think once we opened up, I answered that question and said, no, you're gonna build a market around that store. And in terms of the density of population and proximity of that location, you're going to draw upon its own market. At the time, as a young entrepreneur, I was just a little apprehensive about, man, am I going to take some of the customers that we built here in Westport in the first year and then now send them over to another location? It doesn't really do anything in terms of your, overall, value. And so that was what I was a little concerned about opening up the second store. But I would say people might think that might be an ambitious move within the first year. But we were able to manage it because I think you can get to 2 stores if there was something wrong. If thinking back, would I do that again? Probably not. I think you would want to create infrastructure around your business first, because a lot of things could have gone wrong, and it didn't, luckily, And luck has a lot to do with your success as well. You could time things. You might have a really good person on your team, and so I think I was very fortunate and lucky, doing the right things in the right time frame, being surrounded by some really good people that helped me throughout this journey.